So people that still believe that the moon is actually casting the shadow against the Earth during a solar eclipse, I want to talk to you about this because, in my opinion, it is not. A solar eclipse is not being blocked by the moon, and it's pretty obviously not. Now, I think it's funny because when you look up online about shadows, I'm going to read to you exactly what it says because I asked ChatGPT, write me a little bit about how shadows work. Now, let me explain this. So, first of all, in order to understand the moon's diameter is 2,159 miles. Now, from the East Coast to the West Coast of the United States, the shortest distance is around that same exact size. Now listen to what this says because this is important to understand. A shadow cast by an object is created when the object blocks light from a source, resulting in the area where light cannot reach. The size of this shadow depends on the relative distance between the objects, the light source, and the surface where the object or the shadow appears. According to principle of optics, a shadow will always be equal or larger than the object blocking the light. Never, ever smaller. Always larger. This is because light generally travels in straight lines and spreads out as it moves further from its source. For instance, with a distant light source like the sun, the rays are nearly parallel by the time they reach objects on Earth, which creates a shadow that is roughly the same size or larger. So if the moon was causing the shadow on the Earth, the shadow would have been the size of the whole United States, being approximately 2,100 something miles wide. Why did it only blot out a tiny little bit of the sun? Because you only got a full blocking of the sun if you were in only a few spots in the United States. Because where I was in Connecticut, you didn't really see anything. The sun was fine. It didn't barely get blocked at all. So my point is, we have not been told the truth about what an eclipse is. And it's pretty obvious at this point. When you do the very minimal amount of research and learn about shadows and how they work, and you can test this. Go to your house, use a flashlight in an object. It will never be smaller. It's impossible. Now, some people think, oh, well, the shadow, when I look at the shadow on the street of me, it's smaller. That's because you are on the ground. So the shadow is directly underneath you at a certain time of the day. So basically, if you were lifted off the ground, a suspended object, that shadow would be cast. But if it's on the ground like that, it's on the ground, you can't see it, it's underneath. When it's lifted, you can see the shadow. So it doesn't work the same, but a suspended object is always going to cast a shadow bigger or the same size of the object being cast. That's just common sense. And that's just the way it works. So for all of you out there who still believe that the moon is blocking the sun in a solar eclipse, there's your proof that it isn't, okay? And I'm sorry, but that is my opinion. This is for entertainment and satire, and I love you all. For more of my opinion, check out my website, withthesun33.com.